Okay. So while I'm on hold, I suppose, with this axle housing, axle seal oil leak project, um, something else I need to, I think the next thing I'd like to do, my goal is to get it started. And before I start it, I think it's important that I get, probably not necessary, but to save from making a mess, I need to get something on this turbo to get it turned upwards. Real quick, Dale, my buddy that had the tractor and got it this far, he got this turbo. This is not the original turbo, and I'm just going off of memory what he said, but I think he said this turbo was on a much bigger tractor, like an 8970 or 8770 or something like that. If I'm wrong, I'll try to correct it later, but that's what I think I remember him saying. But anyway, the factory cast iron elbow for the 7000 is not even close to working on this. So the issue is I'd like to stay with the factory hole in the hood. This turbo is so much bigger, it's sitting almost in the same spot, but the hole in the hood is like right here. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to make my own elbow to get off this turbo, get it turned vertical, and then we have a stainless steel stack that we're just going to clamp on my elbow. So my mission here is to build an elbow. The problem, I do not have the hood on here to know where the hole in the hood is. If I was to put the hood on, I would have to put this center console bezel thing here because the hood bolts to that. And up here on the front, I would have to put the nose piece on and get all that on. But once I put that on and put this one hood on, the hood comes down to here or so. I won't be able to see to get in the elbow anyway. So I'm gonna try to figure out using mathematics. I did go to school, high school, and I took a math class, I think. I'm gonna try to find the hole in this hood doing that. I've got a good reference point here. I got these two exhaust manifold bolts, and laying over there on the bench is the old exhaust manifold with the turbo still on it. We are not going to use it, but nonetheless, I have it. That'll at least tell me, I think, where the hole in the hood is in relationship to these two bolts. And then ultimately, my goal, we just got some exhaust pipe. I imagine this came from probably Napa, I would think. We got this band I'm going to have to put together, but we're basically just going to make our own elbow, clamp it on that turbo, and then the stack, no muffler, will just sit on top of this elbow. So I got to figure out where in the hood this elbow's got to be. So let's go check out that old manifold, see if we can figure this out. Okay, here is the old turbo that was on it, and you can see here this old cast iron elbow. It's a pretty tight bend. So right off the turbo, it turns quick and goes up. Right here is that. Well, here, let me see. I gotta set this down. Hang on. I have my elbow here. I brought it with me. But anyway, right there, right down under there is one of those exhaust manifold bolts, and right there's the other one. So I'm gonna try to get a straight edge, and I'm gonna do some measuring, see if I can figure out where the center of this elbow is in relation to those. I'm gonna try to build this elbow mechanically, or geometry. Algebra? I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say. I know how to read a square and a tape measure. We're going to try to do it that way. So I'm going to flip this thing over so I'm looking at the manifold bolts. Let's see if we can figure out where it goes. I discovered that the top of all of these exhaust port flanges, it's perfectly flat. So I'm going to use that as my horizontal straight edge. The next thing I did, you can see these marks on this pipe. I kind of did that by eye, and I know it's accurate because I closed one eye and I held my marker straight up and down, but I marked this pipe so I know exactly where the center of this hole is I assume this elbow was centered in the hole in the hood. So what I did was I took two different squares, and what I'm going to do is I made a little mark on top of this exhaust port, and I'm going to put this small square on there. I'm going to set my Sharpie down. I'm going to set this small square on there so that this edge, my left edge of this square is on the dead center of that manifold bolt. Then I'm going to take this square. Hold on, let me move some junk. I learned this from last time. This thing here is in the way. Am I good now? Nope, still in the way. Hang on. My dad gave me this vise and haven't bolted it down yet. I'll still there. Okay. Alright. I got that out the way. I remember that from the last 10 minutes too. That vise was right in the way. Thank you, Dad, for getting me my vise. I gotta get it bolted down. So anyway, I'm going to hold the left edge of this little square on the mark that I made for these manifolds, and I'm actually going to take this bigger square here, and I'm going to put it right on top of the exhaust manifold flanges. I'm going to put the small square on this mark, and I'm going to put the bigger square on the marks on that cast iron elbow there. As you can see, my eye's pretty accurate. Those two marks line up pretty good. So having one eye closed was the trick. And I mark that there, mark that there. I'm on top of both squares are on top of these manifold ports. And I'm looking, and right here where these two squares meet, I'm a whisker over 2 inches. Probably if I would guess back in them days they did everything to the even inch. So I'm telling you, this isn't a marker's width over 2 inches. So to me, that means the hole in the hood is 2 inches towards the radiator from this first bolt. And we can see these bolts on that new manifold. So we need to get this elbow, which we got to build, exactly 2 inches. We have to get this elbow exactly 2 inches from this bolt. So right here. All right, let's go over the tractor. Okay. You guys are up on the fuel tank. Sorry about the... I spend more time getting camera angles and lighting right. I don't remember having all that trouble when I was just doing this by myself in the shop here, but don't let me forget, guys. I see these little fingers on these keepers for these bolts are not bent over, and I assume they're supposed to be. Again, no genius, but I know just enough to know that they're supposed to be folded over. So now I'm going to question Dale whether or not these are torqued. Or maybe, you know what it probably is, we probably have to run it, get heat in it, then recheck them, then bend them over. I bet that's the thing. Well, anyway, I'm not at that point right now. I got my little square. Well, actually, you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to take my Sharpie, and I'm going to put a little dot on top of this ear, like I did on that old one. I'm going to slide this somehow. Oh boy. Hopefully this fits back there. This little square. Yeah, look at that. So this square now is sitting on the exhaust manifold, and right there. So right here is 2 inches, so I know that elbow's got to be right here. Just for fun, how are we looking? Oh yeah, I'm almost there now. This is not going to be too bad. Got too many pieces here. We just got pieces and started sticking stuff together. If I stick that in there, I'm actually going to be too close to the turbo. So my idea of putting this elbow in the turbo is not going to work because right here is 2 inches and we're almost on the edge. So I'm actually going to have to move this that way a little bit. So I have to go get me a taller square. I need to be able to see up here. Let me just give this thing a 90 degree. Probably tip over. Yeah. Let me go get a bigger square. Oh, I lied. I brought it with me. It's right here. Worst part about a project like this is you get all these pieces on the deck of the tractor. Everything you own is. This might take too long. Oh no, she just made it through there. I'm gonna have to hold that. There we go. I'll put that on that mark. And you know, the nice thing about this square is that part you guys are looking at up there, it's probably blocking the view of everything. I'll tip it back. That is actually exactly 2 inches wide. So somebody was thinking when they made that. So that means this elbow needs to be, the center of this needs to be on your edge or on the far side of the square here. So this is not going to be too terribly difficult. So now what? Now we got to figure out how to mark this somehow, so I know what to do. All right, I think what I'm gonna do, I gotta find a way to keep this square. Oh, actually I just let it go and it seems to be standing there fine. I need to get this elbow, I need to index this elbow to this flange here. So I got all these extra pieces, and this will actually go in the turbo a little bit. So this piece here, it's got this jagged cut. I'm gonna go put that in the saw, square that up. The elbow will go in there, and I'm just gonna trim that a little at a time, until I get it just about perfect. So it looks like if I go I'm just gonna sneak up on it. I'm not gonna cut too much at once, but I'm gonna go cut a 1/2 inch off of this thing. Oh, what you want me to call this? An adapter, I guess. The reason we need that piece, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but we need that piece because this band, which is the size of the turbo, is too big for our elbow. So that is nothing more than just to take up space. So this piece, I need to go cut it. Plus you can see it's all jagged and wonky, so I'm gonna go cut it. Maybe you can't see it. I should probably watch this video quick to make sure that camera's in a good spot. But I'm gonna go square this off so I have 2 square edges. I'll go put it in the bandsaw. I might not be able to clamp that. I might have to mark it and do it by hand. But let me get this square, and then I'll just shorten it as I need it. I might even take a minute to get these stickers off here. I can't weld over the stickers anyway. So, all right, I got a little bit of homework to do. Give me a minute. Okay, so I gotta cut this. You can see it's not square on top at all. Somebody just, oh, that's a Sawzall or hacksaw or whatever, but I need to square it up. This is a factory edge here. But obviously clamping it in the bandsaw ain't gonna work, because you'll just, number one, you'll crush it. Plus it's not very long. So I think I'm gonna try to do this on my, I got a Portaband over here set up on some legs. So let's try it over there. Okay, here's my little, I got this Milwaukee Portaband that I have in this little bench thing that I got for Christmas. It has the word swag on the side. My dad got me this. It's been handy as ever. To take it one step further, my dad, who is very handy, he put it on a foot pedal down here, so I can run it off the foot pedal. This is the handiest thing ever, but trying to do this freehand is also going to be a hassle. So what I'm going to do is I found this piece of angle. I'm going to clamp that down. I'm going to clamp that down and just keep this up against there. I'll just rotate it and hopefully that'll work. So let's see if I can cut my fingers off. Don't really have a measurement, so I just want to start by getting this square. So I'm just going to find the shallowest part of this thing and just start with that, I guess. I'll just call that good right there. A clamp here. Maybe. Clamp is not deep enough. Need deeper clamp. Gotta go this way anyway. Well, boo. My piece of angle is too long. All right, we'll go find something shorter. Hang on. Okay. Okay, I found something a little shorter here. It'll still work the same. Let's clamp this one down. There we go. It's gonna work a lot better. How about there? Just for fun, I'm gonna see if that is square to my table, just because. You know me, I can close one eye and get it almost perfect. But I'm really fussy, so let's straighten this out a little bit. Let's clamp that down. Okay. Clumsy. Got my safety glasses on and my gloves, obviously. So let's see how this goes. I don't know. No lie, I think I will get gloves. Because if that catches, here we go. Found my gloves. I'm going to use gloves because if this touches and decides to go spinning around, there's a nice sharp item right there. I'm going to try to just be graceful here. Let's see how this goes. Well, I got a hole in it. Not liking that. So let me get spice strips. No sense I'm getting any blood. So I'll put some vice grips on this. Not a good idea? Alright. Let's try it now. Well, on a positive note, they met back at the same spot. I throw this in throw that piece out. I'm just going to throw it in a sander quick. Just square it up. Probably not the safest thing I ever did, but we got her done. Let me clean this up. Okay. As you can see, I also, well, maybe you can't see. I don't know what angle that camera's at, but I also de-stickered my piece. So, oh man, I didn't bring the elbow. Hang on. Okay, the idea here is I want to take this piece, put it on the elbow, right, to make that up a little bit. I want this band that I made to be up against the inside of this turbo, so we're not totally relying on the band. And then, this is all Dale's idea, by the way. I'm hoping it works. And then we have this band that we split and we stretched it out. And we're going to put it over top of this band. I see I got a little sticker there I got to take off. But we're going to put it over top of that band. I'm going to be bleeding before the end of this. Come on. It was on there a minute ago, wasn't it? Come on. There we go. But anyway, I'm going to put this band on there. We're going to stick this elbow in there. And once it's all welded together, got it backwards. Once it's all welded together, lay that on there just like that. So that's where I'm trying to get to. So how do we mark it? I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two pieces together, I think. Because I'd like for this to be in there. I think I'm going to put this in there. We're going to put that band, push that in tight, put this on there. I think I'm going to tack this together. Actually put the clamp on it. Then once I get that far, then I'll stick this pipe in there with the square holding me at my 2 inches. I think the best thing to do would be to mark it. I think I'll just mark it, and then I'll take it over the bench and tack it. And we'll just do it that way. So I think now that I got a square edge on this band, I think I'm not even going to worry about this gap here at the top. I mean, if this piece is up against the turbo, I'm not going to get too much soot out of there, am I? I guess I could try to build that. That might be a hassle. But I think I'm going to shove that in there. And let's get these two pieces welded together. So let's start with that. Okay. I'm almost done for the day here. It's Sunday, but my wife is off and wants to run to the city, which I'm great with because I don't see her a ton during the week, so can't be out here too much more. But I got these little black spacers here, and it turns out they're actually the exact thickness that I need to get this band to sit on there. It might be hard to see, but this band is not sitting parallel to this flange, so I'm going to try to use these, and I think I'm just going to work my way around, tack, 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 tack. And worst case, I can just put this piece in the sander to get it to where it sits on the turbo. So what I'm hoping to do is something like this, and hold that down to the bench. See how it's rocking? This band is not quite. Oh, here, sorry guys. This band, it's not quite. So I'm just gonna start on one edge. This edge actually looks better. And I'm just gonna tack my way around this thing. It's actually a little loose right here. But I'm just gonna tack the end of it here, and then I'll just work my way around. So I know that right here, this is at the height that I want. Got my ring tight to the bench, and that piece of the flange is tight on my backing. So I'm just gonna put a little tack on this end, release the clamp. Barely tacked, but nonetheless tacked. Let me move my vice grips here a little bit. I get maybe a quarter of the way around. It's like right here. Actually, I don't think I need to clamp it. It's sitting tight right there. So I'm going to hold the flange down. I'm going to put a little tack right there. Oh, forgot my ground clamp. How many times you guys done that? Sorry about that. Tacked it nonetheless. Now, see, the further around I go, I got a gap. So I got to, maybe you can't see, I got a gap. Got a gap in here, so now I have to clamp it. So I think what I'm going to do, I mean, it's sitting, I'm worried about this edge here. It looks pretty symmetrical. But I got to close the gap, so that's where these This clamp works really good for this. Doing this kind of stuff is clumsy, but looks pretty good. It's in line that way. Gap is tight. Check it again with my spacer right here. You guys see that? Yeah. Checking my spacer right here. It's tight there. I'm going to tack that. Hopefully the phone doesn't tip over the camera like it did last time. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm looking at the band clamp. It seems to be in line. So, tell you what, let's take off my gloves. I think it's probably hot. Alright, let's leave one glove on. Take off my helmet. Let's walk over the... Oh, I touched it anyway, didn't I? Dummy. Let's walk over the tractor and see if it's right. Okay. I won't put you up on the fuel tank. You can see here, that thing looks like it's almost in line. Not bad. It rocks just a little bit. But I think I can take the sander and that flange that's sticking out, and I think I can straighten that out. I think I can get that rock out of it just with the sander. Yeah, alright. I think we're okay. Okay. That actually turned out really good. By the way, my sander, I did have to sand it a little bit. When I first put it on there, it did rock just the slightest little bit, but I didn't want to do too much, so I ended up walking back and forth a bunch of times. And just so you know, my shop is about 75 feet long. Tractor's right here by the door. My sander's way over in the back corner, so I worked up. I did quite a bit. So, with that thing sitting back on my mark there, we know that the center, oh, sorry guys. We know the center of my elbow has to be in line with that. I did take the time to de-sticker it. So now, we just got to get this welded in there. Oh my man. Watch what I'm doing, not watching the camera. But basically, we just got to get this elbow now tacked in there. And I think the best way to do that is, looks like I got to shorten the elbow just a little bit. See how it's just back a little bit? And I think I'm just going to mark it, tack it. I think I'll mark it, tack it, bring it back, try it again, and then just finish welding her up. So let me go over to the saw. Looks like I got to take maybe 3/4 of an inch or so off this end of the elbow, this end here. And let's keep going. Okay. So I went to lunch. Actually, been gone for a couple hours. The wife wanted to run to the city, so we did that. I got a couple hours before dinner. It's Sunday, so I thought I would come back out here and mess with this. But I got... I'm trying to hold the camera here. So I got this flange all tacked up. Put it on there. As you can see, I have it tapered. It's wider down here at the bottom than at the top. I need to get this elbow stood up. So if you put it in there straight, it sits back like that, you know, it's back. So in order for me to get it in line with my, I now have it standing straight up and down, but now it's too far back. In order for me to shove it in anymore, it's hitting down here at the bottom. So I'm actually gonna cut a little bit of this bottom, out, and then I'll be able to reach inside and weld it back up. But in order for me to leave this thing straight up and down and shove it in, I need to, I either need to cut up here by my thumb in the base of that elbow, or I got to cut it off down here so it can drop down and go in. So I think it'll be easier to get welding to the bottom than it will be on the top. So just got to modify this a little bit because I need to go forward by about a ½ inch. Because the way I have it pieced together now, see if I can do this one-handed. Stick that on there quick, right there. Let's stick that on there. See how it's leaning back? I need to get it lean forward, but in order to lean it forward, I got to pull it out. But when I pull it out, I'm about a ½ inch behind my square. I'm trying to get to that front edge of that square. So if I just shove it in, all it does is circle around. So I gotta modify this elbow so that I could take this pipe and go forward without tipping it. So I'm gonna go over to the bench, modify this a little bit. Let's see how I do. Basically, I just need to see how this curves up. I need to just come straight in. One way to do that is I could cut like a little mouthpiece out of the base of this elbow. You can even see here how it's not even coming through straight. See how it's flush here and sticking out right here? So I actually have to cock this elbow inside my ring that I made. So guess we gotta cut something. I don't know. Worst case, I'll destroy it. It's just metal. I can put it back together. So I don't know. Let's figure this out. Okay, I was just over at my little porta-band there. I need to clean up when I'm done. And I just sliced off the end of this, just the very point of that. If I stick it in here, I can push it in a little bit, and then that will let the pipe actually tip in like I want it. Just gave me some room down here at the bottom to get it crooked in there. So I don't know if I got enough or not, but let's go to the tractor and check it out. All right, we're back at the tractor. Yeah, it's a definite improvement. That pipe looked like it's standing straight up and down. We're pretty well in line with that edge. What I need to do is because I mean, if you look at this angle, I'm way too far back. At this angle, too far ahead. So I need to index myself square to the block, like I had it on the bench. So let me work on figuring that out. But I think I've almost got it. Let me work on that. Okay. So I looked at this and I got that little notch taken out there, and I need to slide this piece on further, but as I do that, the pipe needs to be tipped up. So unfortunately, I need more space here at the bottom, which I tried to do with this little ditty here, but I think actually to make room, now these two corners are in the way. So I think I'm going to I think I'm just going to take this whole end off all the way to a 0. So I think we're going to do that. And I think what that's going to let me do is that'll make all kinds of room here to tip this up. We'll still be inside my ring here, which means I'll be able to go inside here and weld in and out to keep all the soot out. So I'm going to cut this off like that on the bandsaw and take it over the tractor, see how it looks. Okay, just got done. Doesn't look much different, but I just cut it in the bandsaw. I took it over the sander, cleaned it up, but it does appear to be standing up there good and straight. So, but I wonder if I could put a square on this. Get my little square. It's right here. Can I check this? And I guess if you look, the square appears to be parallel to that piece at the bottom. Pretty close, huh? Let's take it over the tractor. See how it looks. Okay, back here at the tractor. Let's say we're pretty damn good. I'm sure the stack will give me a little bit of, freedom too, to get it on there straight, but honestly, I think the more I keep messing with it, I think the more apt I am to ruin it. I think what I'll do, like I said, my goal is just to get this tractor started. I think I've got enough here to, I think I'll just put a couple of tacks here by my thumb. I think I'll just put a couple of tacks on it here. Maybe one on the top or the bottom. I'll put the clamp on it. And then I don't think I'm going to weld her up solid till after we get the hood on. Probably a good idea, huh? Okay, well, I think that's going to do. I'm going to put a couple of tacks on it. I'll put the clamp on, and I don't know. Hope that's what you wanted, Dale. I think it'll work. Made a mark here before I pull her out the tractor. How far in it needs to go. And I'm just going to put this gap just here in the belly of this. Just zap a little tack on that there. Put it in a spot where I can grind it. If I screw it up. Put another one on the side here. Put one right here. Okay. I don't know. Let's go take it over, see how it looks. Yeah, it's parallel with the square anyway, pretty much, or close. I'd say that's not too bad. Okay. Well, let's put the clamp on it, the V-band clamp. Okay. Dale was nice enough to bring me the pipe. Found it over there in the heap of stuff he brought, and I think it's pretty good. If anything, it might have to go a touch closer to the turbo, but I don't think I'm gonna do any more with it until after. I don't think I'm gonna do any more with it until after the hood is on. I think it's on. I think I got enough there to get it started, which is my goal. So I'm not gonna do any more with that elbow, but I think that's good. So kind of a prequel of what we need to do next. There's no fuel in it. We got to put the fuel line on that goes from the bottom of the tank over to the mechanical pump. I want to insert a mechanical gauge. I don't know if you can quite see that, but there's an open hole here in the side of the block. I'm going to put a oil pressure gauge in there. There's no water in it, no engine oil in it. That is a brand new filter. This radiator hose here, I'm pretty sure is not right. It's not clamped on. Plus, I don't think it's supposed to look quite like that. So I'm going to talk to Dale, see if that actually, in fact, is right. And I think the throttle's hooked up, and I think it's ready to start. So I guess for now, I'm going to, before this video gets to be an hour, I think I'll go ahead and post this one, and we'll move on. I suppose the next thing I should probably finish is this axle. If I can get somebody to help me put this axle back together, then we'll move right forward with getting her started. So thanks for watching. More to come.